from the foe. You dig? Welcome to The Way I See It with Jamario Rashad. This is a Carolina Panthers fan channel. Please do me a favor by hitting the like button, and please make sure you subscribe, as I'm only a few subscribers away from 2K and getting my channel popping before these games get started next season. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get to the rest of the video. Now, if you have not seen the first part of this video, please go back on the channel after this and watch it. This is the second of a two-part series that I began about a week ago called Buy, Sell, Hold. Now, what this is we are going to look at these players as if they were stock, whether or not that value is going to be on the rise, plummeting, or just holding steady right about where it's at. So in this video, we're going over the defense. As I mentioned, I previously went over the offense. Be sure to go back and watch that video after you complete this one. So we are going to begin with the defensive line and big number 95 in the middle, Derrick Brown. So for him, I am going to immediately say that his stock most certainly is going to be on the rise for a number of reasons. First off, he will be extension eligible after this season, and with the Carolina Panthers having to lock in Brian Burns at some point over this offseason, I'm pretty sure they don't want Derrick Brown to have two breakout seasons consecutively where he would demand maybe top 5 defensive tackle money. They want to pay him as early as possible so that does not impact the cap space moving forward. But aside from that, defensive line coach Todd Wash has spoken to the Panthers media about the focus that he and the rest of the defensive coaches have for Derrick Brown to progress in terms of his ability to rush the passer. As dominant as he was in stopping the ball, getting run stuffs, stopping the run, as I'm was supposed to say, as dominant as he was in stopping the run, one thing and one big knock that anybody that looks at the stat sheet and looks at Derrick Brown and sees that he gets as many snaps and as many opportunities on the field as he gets can have is he does not get that many sacks, and last year he only had 1, but I expect that to change with the addition of a Gerald Evero, changing into this 3-4 system, having Todd Wash, a whole former defensive coordinator, just being a defensive line coach, just focusing solely on the development of these guys. I think Derrick Brown is going to have a tremendous year. Now, next, we have Yetur Gross-Matos, the much maligned, the much clowned, 4th-year defensive end, outside linebacker, as they've elected to change his position this offseason. I am going to say, let's go ahead and just end the nightmare now and just sell that Yetur Gross-Matos stock. As terrible as he was as a traditional defensive end, I know that he has the measurable tools to potentially be very good in the 3-4, but I've seen enough. He's had enough time to develop, and it has just not happened, and I don't think that coaching or anything else is going to be able to help him at this point. So I am out on Yetur Gross-Matos. Sell that stock as fast as you possibly can. So next we have defensive tackle or nose tackle, however you choose to see him, undrafted, I believe 3rd-year guy, Marquan McCall. Now, he is going to be another person that I believe is going to be getting a lot more snaps than they have in previous years. He was mentioned by name by a few members of the defensive staff, including Todd Wash, as I mentioned, the defensive line coach, as slotted in as the backup to Shy Tuttle, who is going to be the starting nose tackle. This guy has been slotted in ahead of Bravion Roy, somebody that has been here multiple years longer than he is, and I believe we're going to see a lot of him this year. He may not have flashy stats, but he is going to show out more so than he has in previous seasons. So next we have Henry Anderson, somebody that me and a lot of other Panthers fans wanted to see a lot more of, but we did not get to, unfortunately, due to injuries and a few other things. But he has returned. PFF saw him as one of the most impactful defensive ends in the league when he was on the field in his short spurts last year. But with the change to the 3-4 system and the addition of several new defensive linemen as well as outside linebackers. I don't know if we'll actually be able to see a lot of Henry Anderson this year. So I am actually going to just say let's hold on that and see for later, because I'm not completely certain that we will be able to see much more of Henry Anderson than we did in previous years. Next, we have Deshaun Williams, an addition coming over to us from the Denver Broncos. He was a favorite of new defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero, and he has had or did have his best year last year under Ejiro Evero. I believe he was brought here to play for a reason. We do not have people that are suited to fit that that 3-4 defensive end role as well as they did. As well, we don't have the number of guys to suit that as well as they did in Denver. So I believe him coming here, he has been brought here for that express reason. So I believe that the stock in in Deshaun Williams, I called him Dwayne, and Deshaun Williams will be on the rise, because I think he will get a lot of snaps. Now, this guy I just mentioned a moment ago, coming to us signed from the New Orleans Saints. He is going to be the starting nose tackle in Shy Tuttle. He is definitely going to be somebody that you want to watch out for having a potential breakout year alongside Derrick Brown, who is going to be playing that right or left defensive end role. Now he is going to be the man in the middle. Both of these big body guys just rushing the passer, clogging up all of that space in the middle. One of these guys are going to have to rack up the sacks from that inside position, and I believe Shy Tuttle could actually be the person that does that. So I believe that Shy Tuttle stock is most certainly on the rise. Now, finally, we have Bravion Roy. He is a fourth-year defensive tackle who has honestly outplayed his draft position as a sixth-round pick. But at this point in his career, and with the development of the Carolina Panthers roster, bringing in as many guys as they have over this offseason and the previous two, with Marquand McCall actually jumping over him in the depth charts as being more favored, and John Penasini being brought over from Detroit as well to be a potential backup or the third string, I don't necessarily see there being too much of a role for Bravion Roy in this defensive line rotation anymore. So I am going to go ahead and say that we need to sell that Bravion Roy stock, because I do not see it becoming any more valuable anytime soon. Now we are going to move into our linebackers, starting first with Marquise Haynes. I believe he is a fifth or sixth-year guy drafted here by the Panthers. He has been a perennial backup, but me and other people have been beating the table for him to start over Yetur Gross-Matos, as he is definitely just better. Now, I believe with his size and speed and all of his other measurable skills, the 3-4 system is totally going to suit his game in the position change a lot better than it did in my prediction, or better than it will in my prediction for Yetur Gross-Matos. So I believe that we are going to see a very good year out of Marquise Haynes. I'm not going to say great, because I don't know how many snaps the team is going to elect to allow him to be out there with the addition of DJ Johnson in the third round. I don't know, opposite of Burns, who they're going to elect to give the majority of the snaps. But I believe when Marquise Haynes is on the field, he is going to make the most of his opportunities and be very effective on the field. Now, next we have a young guy, somebody that I have been very high on if you have been following the channel this offseason, a person that I have, before all of the offseason moves, before the draft, before any of that, I think, or I have always thought, that Amari Barno was in the works to have a breakout season. And with the switch to the 3-4 and him being converted into an outside linebacker, which was his natural position in college, I believe that he is going to have an absolutely remarkable year relative to what he's been able to do so far in the league. I believe he will have career stats across the board, whether it be not just sacks but tackles, tackles for loss, QB hits, all of these things, and not just be a special teams guy. I believe that he will get a relatively high number of snaps compared to what he's done in the past. So I believe that Amari Barno stock is definitely on the rise. Now we have Shaq Thompson, the most tenured guy on this defense currently. He is coming in after signing a new contract with the Carolina Panthers, declining to go elsewhere for other money. Now, I am not completely certain what Shaq Thompson's role is going to be in this 3-4 system, but for what he has been since he's come in the league, learning from the likes of Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, and other great players, he has always been somebody that has been ahead of the curve, not only because of his speed, being a running back in college and all of these other things, but he's just been somebody that just has a nose for being around the ball, a Fred Warner light. If you would ever dare to go there, I would. I believe he is Fred Warner-esque, a poor man's Fred Warner. But in this system, I'm not necessarily sure that he will become any better, because I believe that we have seen his ceiling already. Shaq Thompson is a great player in his own right. So I believe that stock is going to just hold right about where it always has been, or where it has been over these last couple of years. And that wouldn't work to be at the detriment of the team in any way, shape, or form, because Shaq Thompson is a fully formed player. I believe he has reached his ceiling, but his ceiling is good enough for us to be a top level defense. So I believe that you should hold that Shaq Thompson stock. I don't think that it'll be changing value this year very much. Now we have our star, Spider-Man, big 53 in the middle, Brian Burns. Now, of course, I am going to say that if Amari Barno, who is basically Brian Burns light, is going to have a progressively better season than he has in the previous years, you most certainly can bet that I believe Brian Burns will as well. Being as fast as he is, being as bendy as he is, being a stand-up guy, already having experience with doing this in college, I believe Brian Burns is set to have a career year and potentially break that Carolina Panthers sack record, as he was just 3 away from breaking last year. I do believe that in this new system, if he gets any type of help in terms of pressure opposite of him, I believe he is about to break the Carolina Panthers sack record. So that Brian Burns stock is on the rise, as I expect it to be over the next few years, because my guy is an absolute beast. Now, the final linebacker we are going to discuss is the most underrated guy on the team and potentially in the league, in my opinion, in Frankie Louvu. If you look at Frankie Louvu's stats, his stats in just 15 games, 2 less than a complete season, was comparable to not only second team All Pros, but a few first team All Pros as well. But he did not get any votes in terms of being a top 10 player at his position from ESPN. No love on the top 100 from ESPN, from the NFL. There is not very much respect from Frankie Louvu, but I believe with the addition of Bryce Young and the absorbent number of eyes that are going to be on the Carolina Panthers product, I believe that he is going to open the rest of the world's eyes to just how great he is, and I believe that Frankie Louvu's value is going to skyrocket and only get higher. So although this row is getting a bit filled up, I believe that Frankie Louvu's value is going to be on the rise. So I say buy it, because by the end of the season, I'm not completely sure that the Carolina Panthers will still be able to afford to keep Frankie Louvu. So buy it while you can. So that completes our review of the linebackers. Now we are going to move into the DBs, starting with the cornerbacks. We are going to first talk about number 26, Dante Jackson, returning off of an Achilles injury. Somebody that has been a very divisive guy when it comes to conversations with Panthers Nation. We have always saw his potential, but we have never respected the ceiling that he so abruptly stop that. But if Ejiro Evero can bring him to back to the level that he was at, or potentially be higher, that would be great. But I am not willing to bet or put any stock into that happening. I believe Dante Jackson is a finished product. I don't believe that he'll be any worse. But I can't expect him to be any better. So I'm gonna say let's just go ahead and hold that Dante Jackson stock. Now we are going into Jaycee Horn, the most argued about, the most bickered about pick in the last 5 years of the Carolina Panthers franchise. I believe that his stock will absolutely be through the roof. I believe that health will not be a concern for him. Why do I say that? I can only say faith, but I'm leaning into that faith. I believe that he will be healthy. I believe that he will be recognized as a Pro Bowler, if not in an entire All-Pro, depending on how good this team is and how dominant this defense is as a whole. But I believe that Jaycee Horn stock will be through the roof by the end of the season. Now, let's talk about Keith Trash Compactor Taylor. I am going to say this is probably going to be one of the last seasons that we are going to see Keith Taylor with the Carolina Panthers. Am I a bit biased and still a bit scorned by that Bucs game last year? Potentially, but I think I've seen enough from Keith Taylor Jr. as well as the next guy that we are going to talk about. So I'm going to actually go ahead and just speed through this. CJ Burnt Toast Henderson, let's go ahead and sell. I believe in coaching. I believe in improvements. I believe in all of that. But I don't believe in these two guys, so I'm going to go ahead and sell. I'm not going to speak too much to it. They are not good. They are next to ash, close to trash. So, yeah. Let's move into the safeties now. The rest of the DBs, we have just about 3 players remaining. First, we are going to talk about Vonn Bell, who comes to us by way of the Cincinnati Bengals, recognized as a one half of the best safety duo in the league with he and Jesse Bates last year, but they both are now in the NFC South, with Bates being with the Atlanta Falcons and Vonn Bell being here. I believe that he is going to have a great season as well, better than what he was able to do in the with the Cincinnati Bengals, simply because the world recognizes Jesse Bates as always being the superior guy. Coming here and being next to Xavier Woods, I believe that won't be a problem for Vonn Bell, and he will get more recognition than he did in Cincinnati, solely because he doesn't have to go against, the fanfare that the other guy opposite of him on the field had, such as Jesse Bates. But now we're going to talk about my guy, somebody that I have been arguing with Panthers fans, other teams fans, everybody about all offseason, be it Jeremy Chinn, a safety by trade, but a linebacker by nature. Everybody it has been reported, and a lot of people, including myself, expected it to happen, that Jeremy Chinn will be transitioning away from the safety position that he played over the past 2 years, back into a linebacker position, that which he got second place, that he earned second place in Rookie of the Year voting just 2 short years ago when he played an outside linebacker role. He is going to be returning to that for the Carolina Panthers, and I believe that he is going to have a tremendous season, being used as just a versatile weapon. I still put him with the DBs, but I could have put him with the linebackers as well, and I believe he will put the world on notice. He is a highlight waiting to happen. He has the physical traits. He makes big hits. He gets turnovers. He can play in coverage, although that is his weakest suit. He still can do it. This guy is going to be an absolute unit weapon, a Pro Bowler this year. So I'm going to say go ahead and turn me up, Jeremy Chinn. Buy the stock and buy it right now. So the last player we are going to discuss is Xavier Woods. I believe this is going to be his 3rd year with the Carolina Panthers. He has been steady since he has been on the roster. He is a pro's pro. He is a vet. He's been a guy that, despite the lack of coaching that we've had over the last few years, when on the field, he has always been reliable. But I don't believe that just because Ejiro Evero is coming in, that he is going to see an a an elevation of his ceiling. I believe his ceiling has already been reached. He's at it right now. So I believe he is going to continue to be as effective of a player as he has been, which is serviceable, and that is all that the Carolina Panthers need him to be. So I am going to actually choose to hold my Xavier Woods stock because I believe it's good enough where it is, and I don't see it increasing or decreasing anytime soon. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hold it right there, man. But that will conclude the video. I apologize if this drug on a little long. There was a lot of guys on here. If I did not discuss somebody that you were looking forward to hearing about, I apologize. They were, in my opinion, just not somebody that actually stands a chance to make the roster, and if they do, not really, make an impact on it, or I just honestly forgot about them. So my bad, but that is the reason why you don't see them there. But what are your thoughts on this list, this buy, sell, hold? Do you believe that these players will have a higher value at the end of the season, lower value? Should we just go ahead and trade them now? Whatever you think about this list of players, leave your comments down in the comments section, and I'll be sure to chop it up with you right there. But until next time, I am Jamario Rashad. This is the way I see it, and I'm out. Peace.